Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Zafar Iqbal, Vote for Community Forum. Just to explain what happened this morning, we were going to have a community forum and the litter pick with Tyseley Energy Park, keep Britain tidy and everybody. So when we arranged this day, a couple of weeks back, the rules were that we may be able to meet. But then the rules changed again to the 19th of July. So what's happened is that in the morning we still carried on because we had made the arrangements and Keep Britain Tidy said that we could have up to 30 people outside and we could meet. So we carried on with the litter pick this morning. And thank you to all the volunteers. Thank you to Tyseley Energy Park, David and Sandy, Keep Britain Tidy, all the local businesses who came out this morning. Lee from the HLB came. So we collected about 30 to 40 bags of litter this morning. So that was really successful. This afternoon we were going to be in the Memorial Hall and we got some council officers present. We got the district engineer coming. We got Mark Campbell from the strategic growth, East Birmingham strategic growth strategy. So there are some residents that are going to come. So what we've done is instead of having the community forum live in the community hall, we've gone into teams. So there are people in the memorial hall with the stands up, and if we get 5 or 6 people coming, what we're going to do is take them in, because arts in the yard in the church, and we are using the school as. So this is the setup for today. I don't think we've got many residents on the Teams meeting because usually we have it in the evening and we get loads of people. But today, because we have to suddenly change to this format, I'm not sure how many we got. We've got a few people on the team, so we'll just carry on for a bit and see how it goes, and then we'll have to rearrange to do the 21 again. One of the things that I should have said right from the beginning was notice of recording. So this meeting is being recorded and will be later on played back on YouTube, I think, or YouTube or one of the council websites. So the recording is being taken place at the moment. If I go on to the agenda, the next item was the growth strategy officer. Now the officers are here. They're in the memorial hall, so I'm not sure if one of them has joined the meeting or not. I did say to them if they would join, then they could give an update, but I'm not sure whether they've joined. Has anybody joined yet from the...
No, not yet, but what I'll do, I'll send a message just to remind them to join the meeting.
Yeah.
Who is it,
So
Bev?
See if somebody... Sorry?
Who is it, Councillor, from the East Strategic Growth?
They're in the memorial hall. They're in the next building, you see, because of COVID now. We have to move to, I've got somebody walking over to them and trying to see if they can join the meeting. They are here because we had a table together. We were going to do it from, we were going to do it in the community hall with everybody there. But unfortunately, because of this COVID case, we have to suddenly rearrange everything here. And, it's... Some people are in the new building, some are in the school house, some are in the church, some... So,
hello.
Hi. There it is, Mark. We got it. Hi, Mark. Are you on?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I could probably do with going somewhere quieter, but happy to join the call.
Great, mate. Thank you. I did have you on the agenda to give a quick feedback. So, I'm not sure, there's not that many people, but if you can just give us a quick background onto the East Birmingham strategy, that would be really good. If you could do that, that would be great, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine. Would you like me to do that straight away, or
yeah, if you could, if you could, or do you need a few minutes?
That's absolutely fine. No, that's fine. I'm happy to do so now. So,
yeah.
So for anyone on the call who doesn't know who I am, my name's Mark Gamble. I'm the development manager for East Birmingham, and I work in the council's Inclusive Growth Directorate. For the last few years, I've been working on the East Birmingham Inclusive Growth agenda, and what that's all about is the regeneration of the area, because we've got some of the most deprived places in the country in East Birmingham. But on the other hand, there's a huge amount of growth planned around the area. So at Curzon, where there's going to be a high-speed 2 station, and out in Solihull around the airport, where the other high-speed 2 station is going to be, there's going to be thousands and thousands of new jobs, new homes, and there's also the proposal for a new Midland Metro tram route to run right through the middle of East Birmingham. So the idea is that we need to take that kind of opportunity and make sure that when it happens, it delivers the maximum value to people in the area, and that the funding from the government and from elsewhere isn't just flowing through East Birmingham, it's staying in the local economy, and people are better off for it. So the strategy we published originally in February 2020, we went out to consultation just before the start of the pandemic, which was really unfortunate because we wanted to get out into the community and talk to as many people as possible face to face. In the end, we spent 8 months consulting. We did it largely online like this. And because of that, we had to do things a bit differently. So we focused a lot of our efforts on talking to groups and organisations in the community, so that we might not be able to talk to the general public as easily, but we spoke to lots and lots of different organisations of all kinds, who between them, it represented at least, a sample of the community. So we did that work. We amended the inclusive growth strategy in light of what people were telling us. And I think generally the message we got was that everybody broadly agreed that East Birmingham needs investment. It needs the attention of the council and the government and other organisations, and it needs us to be joined up in the way that we do things. So taking that message away, we went back to the council's cabinet in February this year, and the strategy was adopted. And we're now in the process of moving forward with actually putting into action some of the ideas that we put in that document. So we talked about taking a very kind of wide, what's the word I'm looking for? An inclusive approach. So we're looking not just at buildings and homes and jobs. We're also thinking about things like skills and education and health and social care, and about how the council services work, but also how we work with people like the NHS and the various educational partners in the area, so that if we work together jointly, then we can get more benefit out of the things that we're all doing. In practical terms, what that means is we're setting up a team to take that work forward. There's a report going to the council's cabinet next month seeking approval for 3 years of funding for a team. And the job of that team would be to work with the community and with stakeholders of all different kinds to create projects, to help local organisations draw in funding and to do the things that they want to do, and also to put together business cases so that we're able to go after funding available from all sources to do useful things in East Birmingham that help to make people's lives better or easier, and particularly in ways that are going to benefit either people who are currently suffering because of the impact of COVID, and also young people who are going through education at the moment and are going to be the big hope for the next few years. So there will be a wide variety of different work happening. To give you some examples, where we're looking at Ward End Park House, for example, in Ward End, where there's a vacant city council building that could be used more usefully as a skills centre. So we're looking to put together a business case for that. We're doing a piece of work looking at Bordsley Green local centre, thinking about not just planning and transport, but also what the community needs in the area and things like the health service and the way people move around. And we've also got some European funding, the last chance at European funding, to do a piece of work called the Use It Transfer Network. And that's all about working with local community partners and building the capacity of the community to do things, including links in with skills and recruitment, but also people's ability to do things for themselves. So those are some of the things we've got going already. There will be a lot more coming later in the year, and we will be looking at things on all different scales. So on one hand, we'll be looking at how we can get put our best foot forward with the government to get things like the metro funded, and also to work with. It's all right. I'll just make sure I've not dropped off, and also to work closely with the NHS on their plans for how they evolve their system going forward. But on the other hand, we want to be working really closely in local areas, and we will be doing projects ranging from, very small, all the way up to those kind of big long-term things. So whenever there's any work in this part of the city, then both through the councillor and also through our ongoing engagement with lots of local groups and organisations, then we'll be wanting to make sure that the community are involved, and we'll always be willing to speak to local people about any concerns or issues that we can try and build into our thinking and maybe address through some of the work that we're bringing forward. So that's I know it's quite a big topic. I've tried to cover it quickly, but I hope that gives you a sense of what we're doing. I'm more than happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate your time here. But as you know, that we had to change the format. We were hoping to get lots of people from the community to come into the Memorial Hall and listen to the information. I mean, we've tried our best to get to the, because of COVID, we still need to keep going with this information, try to get this information. There are lots of good things going on. I'll just bring in Chris. I think Chris wants to come in. Chris, do you want to come in?
It's just to add on to what Mark's already said, Councillor. I've seen the glossary. I sat in at the initial meeting around the strategic growth documents. Very interesting document. Thank you, Mark. I've tried to share that with partners. I think, Councillor, we did discuss it some time ago, but it's something on the back burner, so to speak. It's not always in the window, as I'm sure Mark knows. There's a lot of work going on in the background, and I've just confirmed to Mark that I'm inviting James Carless out to the next local partnership delivery group, so he too can give an overview of the sizable project that's being looked at the moment. Is that okay with you, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm with James at the moment at the community event in Tyseley, and all the work he's been doing over the last year and more will carry on. So
I'm working with Sophie as well in regards to the Ward End Park. So Ward End Park features heavily as one of our priorities, albeit to try and make it a more user-friendly park and open it up to extend to the community, make it so that it's a really inviting place. And there's so much potential at Ward End Park. It's incredible.
There is, and we're also doing work on all of the other parks as well, actually. And certainly Small Heath Park is something else we've been speaking to local groups about. And the idea is we want to be working in all parts of East Birmingham, and as I say, at all levels. So we're going to be working really hard to be available and to be there at the meetings and available to the community. So I think I'll be more than happy to come back to a future ward forum and talk in more detail about how the programme's going. But as a general rule of thumb, if there's anything going on in the area that we might be able to help with, then more than happy to be invited.
Thank you, Mark and Chris, for that. I'm sure we will, do one, and this has always been my vision, because when we started the first meeting here, we had 300 people, but because of COVID and all the restrictions, I mean, this day was planned a couple of months back, but unfortunately we had to change it again today because of the government restrictions. So yeah. I will definitely make sure that all the residents groups know about it, and when we do, we are hoping to do another community day here. I mean, today we were going to have this community day, and the brilliant facility at the Birmingham University that just opened up is going to be opened on the 14th, officially on the 14th of next month. at the Tyseley Energy Park, the Birmingham University research site. And I've just had a quick look this morning after the litter pick, and it is, I mean, we just got to make sure that, people know that these things are happening locally. There are local businesses coming, local jobs coming, but we just got to make sure, Mark. So, we will let you know when we rearrange this, and hopefully this afternoon, Mark, you're still in the Memorial Hall. We may get some residents coming down, so you'll get to speak to some of them. And thank you for your time. Chris, anything else you wanted to add?
Not at the moment, thank you, Councillor.
That's fine, Chris.
And nothing from me either, thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for that. Okay, so we'll move on to the agenda item. I'm glad we got Sergeant Laura Burke with us. Thank you, Laura. Welcome. So, Laura, can you just give us an update, if you want to, on the South Yardley side of the policing, if you want? I mean, then we'll take any questions.
Yes, of course. So there's not been much change really since, excuse me, since last time we spoke. Again, our priorities remain to be under 25 violence, domestic abuse, and also hate crime. So we are continuing our efforts in tackling each of those. We're doing quite a lot of work at the moment with the young people of South Yardley, and we're getting some support with that from our Operation Guardian task force. Operation Guardian is a national operation which is focused around reducing under 25s violence. So we're getting an awful lot of support from them. So you'll probably see an increase in officers in the area, which isn't necessarily something to be concerned about, but is definitely going to help us to fight, the knife crime and things that we've got going on in the South Yardley ward. In terms of domestic abuse, well, if I'm completely honest, at the moment we're seeing massive amounts of demand in West Midlands Police. So that means that unfortunately neighbourhood policing as an entity is kind of being put on the back burner at the moment, and a lot of my officers are now committed with attending 999 calls and 101 calls and getting those incidents crimed and offering support and safeguarding members of the public. So in terms of our day-to-day business that we would usually go about with domestic abuse and things, that's kind of been pushed onto another team for the time being. But obviously we're still trying to have as much of a visible presence as we possibly can. I think one of the really good pieces of news is that we've got quite a few street patrols set up in the last couple of months. So my fantastic PCSOs, Ollie, Alex and Amanda, have worked really, really hard and have got some fantastic people, active citizens out in our communities who are willing to go out and assist doing street patrol. And that is going to really help us as we move forward, especially with the increase in demand that we're seeing at the moment. So we're working really closely with them, doing things like litter picks, but also showing them the ropes around how to do patrols and things, and making sure that they're fully trained up in everything that we need to do. And I think that's probably about it, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Laura. Can I just first of all say that Lee's online here as well, the HLB Vice Chair, and myself, and your fantastic PCSOs. I can't praise them enough, Amanda, Alex, Ollie. I mean, as you know, I live in the ward and I see them every single day of the week. Me and Lee have, joined up for the street watch, and we've had as you can see, I'm wearing my street watch jacket that I got. So we are waiting for Amanda and Alex to give us a date so we can have our first walk with them. And then what we're going to do is we got 3 volunteers, I think, 3 of us, and we're going to start. And they do a fantastic job, I have to say. They've come at the Oakland for the litter pick. I think they're off today because we were doing a litter pick, and I spoke to Alex and he said, "I'll be off today," I think. So we'll forgive him for that. So thank you for that. One thing I just wanted to pick up while Chris is here, I mean, Laura, you might not be. Chris Trident didn't reply to my email. I thought they were going to come today and we were going to have a walk about the beggars issue on the Coventry Road. And I think it was last week or the week before, Inspector Graham sent me a note saying they were coming, but I don't think they came. So is there any update on that, Laura or Chris? Thank you.
I can
You
pick
go
that
first,
up.
Laura. You go
Okay.
first, Laura.
Thanks, Chris. So I believe that today, well, I've spoken to the outreach worker from Trident Reach today, and he works during the evening. He doesn't work during the day, so his shift starts at 4:45. He is out and about in the area. He's reassured me that he's doing some stuff. But next week, so next Saturday from 3 p.m, not as in the 3rd of July, not this Saturday, we're going to be out with the Trident Reach worker, doing some work with them and doing some proactive patrols in plain clothes and things. And in the build up to that, we're also, as a neighbourhood team, we're going to send a couple of officers out to engage with the beggars and the street community in the build up to that. Chris, I don't know if you can give a bit more of an update about what happened today.
Only similar to yourself, I've been speaking with Inspector Graham earlier on another matter, and he updated me on the street cohort. Councillor Iqbal knows that it's always a particularly challenging subject, Laura, because these individuals are transient in nature, albeit some of them do prefer their same locations, and there's a sinister side to it, there's a innocent side to it, and there's a kind of financial side to it. So it's never an easy one. Everyone that you challenge and encounter, there's always a background to their story, and that's where Laura and her team and the people from Trident come in to try and reach out to these people and promote the changing lives, procedures and initiatives. So it's always our goal, including mine, to try and change these people's lives, but some people just won't change, and therefore it's an arduous, it's a very political, strangely enough, and sensitive subject, because to the public we must look like the bad people because we're always picking on innocent people just simply begging, but simply begging doesn't always kind of resonate in just simply holding your hand out. Some of these are quite menacing, some of them can be threatening, and ultimately it affects footfall to shops and affects businesses. So I know Laura has been quite sterling in her work and referring these onto the city centre ops group, because what happened we all realised some months ago, and we've realised for many years, that we're all doing things differently for the same cause, but differently. So it was this new process that came into play, Councillor, some months ago now, possibly a year ago now, where Laura being the representative for the East, even right saying that, Laura, sorry to put you in it, we will highlight those individuals over to the city centre team for them to dissect, work with and look for any duplication, because what we do have sometimes is displacements, and because the city centre team seems to be better equipped resource wise than most of the areas around the city centre, it's obvious that a lot of these individuals are moving from the city centre and displacing themselves in other prominent areas where there's good footfall. And unfortunately, we are a very generous nation still, and as much as we try and stop this from happening, the kind of lure for the beggars or for the street cohort is the very generous giving and from people. So it's a battle. It's a long battle, and one possibly we won't absolutely cure, but we try to manage it. And Laura touched upon, there's a specific person from Trident who works along that corridor, the Comsher Road corridor, which is predominantly where we tend to get one or two known individuals around Asda, around Morrison's, the Wheat Chief. So it's a kind of cat and mouse at times, Laura, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. But we keep trying. I think the main issue is that it's just going to be displacement. It just always feels like, we win the battle here, but ultimately the same faces are going to pop up somewhere else in the future. Yeah. And that's the same for almost all criminal offences, I suppose. We've got the same issue with robbery at the moment. Yeah. We've driven the robbers off our patch, and they're unfortunately operating somewhere different now. So
yeah. Can I just say that, Laura, I mean, I always say that thank you for to you and your team, and especially the PCSOs as well. And Chris, I know, every month we have a meeting on the East Community Safety Partnership, and Inspector Simon Graham, Chief Inspector Carter, and we all working towards it. I just wanted to make sure that on this forum that we highlight that we are, I get a lot of complaints that nothing's been done and nothing, but there is a lot of work going on. And I wanted to bring it to this forum to make sure that the residents know that there is a group of people who are looking at this, and they're not. We haven't forgotten it, and we will keep working.
It does appear.
Laura, just on the on the 3rd, if you let me know what time it is, I might join the walk. If you know what time it is, so that I can join the walk as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely, Councillor. I'll let you know. It will obviously depend upon what Trident Reach want, because I think they're already going to be a little bit dubious about having police officers with them, because generally people are not as open. But definitely will. If you can't come along for the walk, we'll definitely come along and introduce the work.
Maybe once you start, I can just have a chat, and then afterwards have a chat, not be with you personally, but I understand, you have to have that kind of, so, I can do it before or after. Chris, did you want to say something?
Just last thing for me.
Yeah.
And it is about promoting what we do, because what the public don't always see is what goes on in the background. And as Laura alludes to, there's an awful lot of work and networking. And as you know, we have the LPDG. I'm in touch with Laura and her team on a regular basis, so we do know, and it is transient and it is running around after them, but that's the boring stuff. I'm sure the public don't want to hear that. All they want to see is that person removed, but there are processes to be considered and to go through before we can actually look at even considering enforcement action. And there are tools out there. There's an individual who I won't mention, where we are on the cusp of taking enforcement on that particular person because he's not engaged or she's not engaged. And so it's a long journey, and it's a frustrating one for the public, but a bit more frustrating for Laura and I, because we have to jump through hoops to get any enforcement action against these individuals.
Yeah, thank you, Chris and Laura. You're welcome to stay, Laura, but if you have to get off, I'm happy for you to. Thank you for your time. Yeah?
Thank you very much, Councillor.
Thank you. Okay, so any other questions or comments for anybody? Got to ask because there's not many public on the. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so housing, John Dunleavy is in court today because he's got some antisocial behaviour cases that he had to be in for. So there's no report from the housing. If there are any issues, I'll take them back to him. So only thing left is sort of my report, and what I wanted to do in this meeting was, like last time when we had the meeting in the community hall, we came up with the board action plan, and I've sent out the board action plan to everybody on email, and I've tried to update these as best as I can. But what I wanted to do was, to share it with residents and take comments, and then, add things to it or delete things from it, or things we have achieved. So because of all these changes now, we can't do it in the memorial hall, and we've sent out the details. So I think what I'll do is, the best way to deal with this is that we've sent it out to people. When I have my next meeting, what I'll do is I'll bring paper copies again, and when we're in the community hall, and I'll try to send out a questionnaire to all the partners, all the organisations, and see what their feedback is and what they want added into it or what they want deleted from it. But I have updated the board action plan last week, as some of the things that we achieved, and that will, I think the best way to do it is that when I have a meeting in the community hall, and if I send out all the questionnaires to everybody and they can have input, and then we can take it from there, I think that's the best way. Yeah, if we can just show the, Beverly will put it up on the screen quickly, the action plan for the board, and some of the things I've put in there, and then what we'll do is we'll have to, I think, just be a bit more patient. So this is the action plan for board plan for our board, and And as you can see on the left-hand side, we had about 13 issues, I think, that we said that we would work on in the ward. And some of the progress I've made, I put it in the progress one, so updated. But what I want to do is I want to actually consult the whole of the residents again, the people who took part in this last time, you know, the residents groups, there were local organizations, there was the schools, the police. So, you know, I'm going to send it out again to everybody. I have already sent it out, but, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to do a questionnaire with it. So the next ward forum we have in the Memorial Hall, we can update it and, you know, maybe put on issues that people think that need to go on there, or, you know, the issues that have been achieved, maybe we need to take them up. So, Chris, I see you got your hands up. You want to come in?
Yes, please,
Yeah,
Councillor. I seem to be saying an awful lot today. I'm sorry.
No, carry on.
Very interesting. I've spoken to Bev about this recently because I see it being a real key part of identifying really what makes a ward operate, tick, and what is it the local residents in your, you know, in your ward, what is it that's what matters most to them. As you know, Councillor, I've done a very similar action plan for Borsley Green, and my frustration, and this is not anything political in any way, shape or form, was that I didn't have anything to go on with Borsley Green. So with Borsley Green being a police impact area, I designed an action plan, and thankfully it's very similar to what you've put the format. So I'm really glad. I'm really glad on that. But I'd like to think that at some point, if we've got time, is maybe open that up for further conversation at the local partnership delivery group, because the way I look at it, and Bev, please put me right on this, and Councillor and anybody else, we've all got separate priorities within all our own organisations, and that's fine. That some of them will sit back and they won't cross over into another organisation, but there are common ones. For instance, parking is a problem for residents, parking is a problem for police, parking is a problem for the local authority, parking is probably a problem for West Midlands Fire Service. So when we look at your document, Councillor, in theory, that should identify a lot of common problems that organisations are getting reports about from local residents, from ward residents. Now, sitting behind all of that are obviously going to be lots of other things that aren't as common, or may well be common, but they're operational things, day-to-day operational things. But I think what you've mentioned as part of your 13-point action plan at the moment are all those things that really collectively you could say, well, where does the East Local Partnership Delivery Group, what's their priorities for most of their wards? And I'll say, well, most of their wards have got plans, and most of those priorities that we speak about in the Local Partnership Delivery Group actually feature as part of those ward plans. So for the first time in a long time, I'm starting to understand how one document complements another and how it kind of connects to another. And I want to thank you for that, because it makes it easier for me now to completely understand what I've been doing is being correct as well. And I wanted to make sure that Bev, and I've spoken to Bev about this before, the benefit of having these ward action plans is to make sure that, one, we're not duplicating something at the LPDG. Two, for instance, as you mentioned on here, parking, if the normal sense of parking and the questions being asked of it isn't working, obviously the blockage then is brought and raised at the LPDG. So again, it does come across to me as a very simplistic referring mechanism, that if something's blocked and the councillors aren't able to open those doors, it comes to the LPDG, and as the LPDG, we collectively look at what we can do to unlock that blockage. Does that make sense, Councillor?
It does, Chris. Great. I mean, you know, and the other thing I wanted to do was, you know, you're right. You got I did mention that you know, the LPDG plan, and the police have a plan now as well for Acox Green and for South Yardley. I want to make sure that, you know, all three of us are working together and we identify,
absolutely,
that's why I want to, give it a bit more time now. So, in the next meeting, I can get some more feedback from residents. I will send out a survey or a letter or questionnaire to people with the updated one and say, can you contribute? Because last time, Chris, when we done this, it was great because in the memorial hall we done this. I mean, this was consulted on and done by the residents and the schools and everybody. We had nearly 300 people come to this event 2 years ago, but because of COVID, we can't do it. So I want to make sure that I consult widely as I can with every single person, every single group, every single person. Then we come to it, and then you're aware of it, the police is aware of it, and we're working together to move forward on these plans. Yeah. So thank you for that as well. I'm glad that your plan and our plan is on a similar setting. So at least we can have a look. And
and I think going forward, I think the police also are very keen that all three plans will kind of overlap each other, and there'll be some common anomalies. There'll be some common themes, and I think you've actually mentioned and honed in on most of those themes. But it works very, very well, and each plan will complement.
Exactly, definitely.
Thank you.
Totally agree with you, Chris, on that, and we'll continue working together. Okay.
Thank you.
So, I mean, Web's put it up on there for people to just have a look at. I've sent it out to about, I've got about 200 emails in the ward that, people have given me to send information. So I've sent that out to everybody. We were going to print some, survey papers and things like that, questionnaires, but unfortunately, the council house is being renovated with electricity. So we moved to Margaret Street. And my sport worker Des and Beverly this morning tried their best, but we couldn't get into any computer that would print. So it's one of those days we had to change everything on its head. So we're just trying to do the best as we can today. But I'm sure in the next meeting I will have sent out that survey or the questionnaire to everybody with this copy. And when we meet up again, we will update the plan with the LPDG, the police, ourselves, residents, groups, everybody together. Okay, so moving on. I mean, there's only my update now left. I mean, people who come to this meeting will know that I always send out the written report before every meeting. But unfortunately, this meeting, I didn't send a written report because what we were going to do, as I've explained before, was we were going to be in the memorial hall. I would have distributed the ward plan with the questionnaire, and we would have done it that way. So unfortunately, there's no written report this time. So just on a verbal report, fly tipping has been the main issue again. So I've reported over, 60 sites. If you go on my page, I've got a Tyseley Hayman's Facebook page, and you'll see I give a weekly report on that page. I put up pictures, we've picked up a lot of rubbish. I mean, there's been an announcement from the council, the £7 million, I don't know whether you noticed that in the news, and we're getting, stewards, we're getting new equipment, we're getting cameras, but it's early stages at the moment. We're piloting some areas, we're going to finish recruitment, and then we're going to start, and I will feed back in the next meeting, exactly how that's going to be working for our board, because there's going to be some sites where this big lorry is going to come and people will be able to take stuff to it locally. So I'll have some more details on that. But fly tipping is mainly the big issue at the moment. Antisocial behaviour, parking, and I've had some housing inquiries which I've gone through with my housing officers. I've had a HLB meeting. I've also had a HLB walk with Lee and board members. Planning, there's only one major planning application going on at the moment, which is on the Warwick Road, the old Nissan site. That's been demolished. So, the whole of the site is being demolished. It's in the progress at the moment. Out of my small highways budget, which is very small, I have a small budget for the ward. Speedway Road and Kings Road junction, where people were finding it difficult to come out because people were parking all the big cars there. So we put out last week. The district engineer myself visited and he's put some bollards there, so that's made it a bit easier for people to come out of Francis Road and to access Speedway Road. And the major issue on Speedway Road with where we are at this moment, Tyseley Energy Park, the gate was open for Tyseley Energy Park, and all the traffic that's been on the A45 was, the real lorries were coming onto Speedway Road into the site. So what we've done is we've talked to David Horsford at the Tyseley Energy Park. We had a residents meeting on Speedway Road. We've managed to close the gate now, but as soon as we closed it, there was a fault with the gate, so we had to redo the gate again. So the gate is shut now. So hopefully the lorries won't be going down there now, because they will have to go around onto the A45. We're working closely with the Energy Park to see if that continues. There are still issues on the road, on Speedway Road, and I've had a meeting with Cllr and one of the inspectors, Kevin Gibbons, and that work will be carried out this weekend because of the there's access needed for some of the warehouses. So they promised me that the work will be done this weekend. This afternoon we do have the district engineer in the Memorial Hall, because I've said to some of the local residents to come down and have a chat with him if they wish to talk to him about the petition that was given on Speedway Road. Continue to do my advice bureaus virtually at the moment, which is every Friday. If people want to join, I've done some home visits, keeping to social distancing, and I've attended the LPDG meeting. We've attended West Midland 5 meetings. I attended the full council meeting Tuesday. And apart from that, I don't think I've got anything else at the moment. We've done a litter pick this morning. We got about over 40 bags. We're doing a litter pick on the Oaklands on Saturday. And at Saturday afternoon, I'm doing a litter pick and an alleyway clear up behind the shops on Cllr Road, Coventry Road. And the residents are going to be taking part in that. If you're around, please come and say hello. And I'd just like to thank the ladies group, Arts in the Yard, One Fran, Sidra. We're doing the George Road Park at the moment. I don't know whether people have seen us on social media. We're doing the George Road Park fence. We're painting the fence. Mike Hinton has helped us with the bins. We're clearing the park. We put the planters up on the Coventry Road. All the plants have gone in, and we're getting we've entered into the Hay Mills Bloom, and we got the judges coming on the. I'm not sure. I think it's the 12th or the 14th of July. So we're going to be, cleaning up before 2 days before that. So when the judges come, be ready for that. Anybody who wants to help or have an interest in that, please come and join us. That's about it, I think. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Only me again, Councillor.
It's going to be me and you, Chris, today.
I, as part of, and Bev might, and Pat might like this, I've sent out, I keep having these ideas lately, but I've sent out another idea now to the LPDG group around a seasonal calendar. And it's a simple thing where on that seasonal calendar, we can hide it behind the what we call the SegWeb computer system we've got, but it's accessible to all those who are signed up to SegWeb. And all it is so at any one time we can have a snapshot of what's going on in what area and what activity events is taking place. That might well be, it may come across as confusing or a bit more hard work, but the hard work is from me because I'll make sure that I manage the documents. But it really is simplistic in thinking. You've just said, Councillor, that you've got several things that's coming your way very soon. And wouldn't that be nice if we could find to put that into like a seasonal calendar and share that with all our partners, because we still don't get to all our partners, and it just might be when we've got this seasonal calendar, people can see what's going on and say, you know what, I'd like to be part of that. So it's just getting that idea out there. I've sent it on to people for their comments. Appreciate everyone's very busy, but if you could just look at it for a couple of minutes and just let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, that's great, Chris. I'll have a look at that, and we'll go through that. I think it's a great idea that if that kind of thing is happening, if it's on there, and you're right, people might want to get involved. What we do is, we try to advertise it, but sometimes it's hit and miss. But if we had that kind of thing, that'd be great. And just on the last thing that I wanted to say that the memorial hall is going to be, after today, is going to be closed for refurbishment. And we got the Veolia site, Veolia to give us some money. Arts in the Yard and Inspired Steps, two local organisations, brilliant organisations. They're going to be managing that community centre from now on. So in September, we're hoping to have the opening. Once it's refurbished and it's open to community use, and we're going to have the opening in September. And I'll update everybody near the time, and hopefully we can use that site to have the community, things going on. And I've just had a peek at the Birmingham University site, the research centre in Tyseley Energy Park. Oh, it's wonderful. We were going to take people there to show them around today, but I'm not sure how many people will turn up in a minute, and then we are going to go around it. I've had a peek. It's a brilliant facility. They're saying that we can use it. The bits of it are there that the community will be able to access. So, the whole site is really, really good. So, I'll open it up, Chris, and I'll get maybe, once we are up and running, to maybe have a LPDG meeting here, and, just show you around. And, maybe we can get Inspector Carter and some of the members to come down here and just have a meeting from here, even if it's on Teams. So, is there anybody else who got any points or concerns they want to raise with me? I know there's only a couple of people on from the... Oh, Lee, mate. Thank you. Go on, Lee.
Good afternoon to everybody. If you could send me that ward plan, please, Councillor, that would be great. You know what I'm saying? So I could look at it. Anybody that wants to send me anything to try and get me involved, please, by all means, if my email can be forwarded in any way to anybody, then they can always get back to me. As I said, Beverly did come in and ask if I had anything, but everything today has been covered, and that's very unusual for me, mate, you know what I mean? Because usually I'm a big mouth, you know what I mean, who's got lots to say.
Thank you, Lee, for coming this morning as well.
That's great.
And, helping with the Little Pig and, doing your HLB walk, and I appreciate that. And, I will forward you that board plan, and I would, if you can forward it to John as well, maybe.
Yes,
I
will.
Chair of the HLB, and maybe get him to contribute towards it as well.
Yes, we can do, you know what I'm saying, yes.
I'll forward that to you in a minute. I mean, while we're talking, Des is looking at that to forward it to you. But we'll make sure that everybody gets that board plan, and make sure that everybody gets a questionnaire, and they have their say. I'm going to send it to the schools as well, to all the local organisations. So, in the next meeting, hopefully I'm hoping to get some feedback from people, and then we can add it to the board plan. Thanks, Lee, for that.
I know you're doing lots in the area, mate. You know what I mean? Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean?
Yes,
I know everybody's doing lots and it's very awkward time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
No, thank you, Councillor.
Can I thank everybody? I know it's been a bit hectic, and it's not been the usual meeting we have, and we have to change everything around today. Can I thank everybody at the Tyseley Energy Park? Keep it and tidy. All the volunteers who came this morning, this afternoon. I'd like to thank the council staff who come and help with this as well. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye-bye.